Hey, Tribute Band Central, welcome to the show. We have two very special guests today. I have Jeff Wheeler and Tom Blair, and they are with Jeremy Would Let Me Drown. That is the tribute to Pearl Jam, Alice in Chains, and Soundgarden. Hey, welcome to the channel, guys. How you doing?
Doing great, man. Thank
Thanks,
you.
thanks for having us.
Appreciate it.
Well, I'm really excited to have you on. Um, I always tell my guests at the beginning whether I'm like a super fan or just a casual fan. I would say Pearl Jam is probably my favorite of the three. And I'd be just a kind of a casual fan for the others. But I've looked at your website and such, and I'm really excited to see some of your stuff at some point because you do kind of multiple shows, which I find really exciting. So, well, let's start off. Let's talk a little bit about your musical background. What's your history? How long you been playing? Start from the beginning.
Sure. This is Tom Blair. I started playing in terms of rock music right out of like in high school. I was in like a high school original like metal where it was all metal stuff, and out of high school sort of put that down for a little bit. Went to college, but then right out of college, got right back in the van, got right back on the road. Did original metal, played in metal festivals, played the Mayhem Fest in 2008 that came when it came through Atlanta. So I did a bunch of big stuff like that. And then I had a couple of years where I let all that go. And then someone asked me if I wanted to be in a cover band. And I was at that point like, no way, never doing any of that. But after the first couple of shows of getting some money in my pocket, I was like, oh, well, this is like a completely different deal. We actually make money playing music. That's a new concept that I had never, through all my years of playing and touring. So once I started to make money and started to feel like it was worth my time and effort again, I got into a bunch of different cover bands, and one of them was an Alice in Chains band. This was way back in the day. It was called. I was actually in two different ones. One was called Jar of Flies, and one was called Junkhead. But I did the Alice in Chains thing for a while, but then I did a bunch of other different bands. Well, years later, I meet Jeff, and he's wanting to know if I want to be in a band that does Alice in Chains and Soundgarden and Pearl Jam. And I was like, that sounds fantastic. I probably know all of the Alice in Chains material, and I need to review some of the other stuff. And the Pearl Jam stuff is actually my weaker material in terms of what I needed to go and learn just because of the maybe the exposure early on. But I felt like I sort of fell into a jackpot. It was like this is music that I absolutely love. So that's sort of my past, metal bands and rock bands, and then now I'm doing this. I'm doing a bunch of other stuff as well, but this is great for me.
Yeah. Well, we're neighbors, and so I started this
Oh,
band with a couple other guys. We live in the same neighborhood.
Yeah.
So I started this band in 2018, coming out of an original metal project, and then picked Tom up 2 years ago. We knew of each other through the music world and everything, but didn't know we were neighbors, so that was cool.
We
So and
didn't
he
know.
just kind of, so he did. It was a perfect fit. He was like, "Yeah, man, I'll come play with you guys." I was like, "Cool, it's great." By the way, we're neighbors, I think. And I went in high school, I played in bands, college, I played in bands, and I was in an original project that I thought was a rock band, and then I realized later it was emo. The whole time it was emo, and I didn't know it was emo, because you don't think about what it is in the time. But anyway, Tom's a full-time musician. I'm a teacher, I'm a high school teacher, so we got different pathways there, but we love doing this music together. So
excellent. How many members are in the band? And if you want to go ahead and introduce your bandmates, that'd be great.
yeah, so we've got Cal Wooten, he's our bassist. There's four total.
Okay.
Not four bassists, four people. And
Yeah.
then he joined us about a year ago. And then we've got Ben Daniels who does our lead guitar work, and he's been with it since we started in 2018. So there's four of us total. So Tom does vocals with me. We share co-lead vocals, and then more of the rhythm stuff, and then Ben does lead and Cal on bass.
I'm celebrating 2 years this summer with the band,
That's
which is
right.
really cool.
That's right. Congrats, man. Yeah. All
Excellent. So the band itself, we're talking like 7 years.
right.
So been out and about quite a while. Um, I guess my other question would be, how did you come up with the name?
Well, I was trying to come up with some clever titles. Um, Alice in Pearl Garden. Yeah, Alice in Pearl Garden was, I think, the first iteration of a name I tried to come up with that would incorporate all three bands somehow.
Yeah.
And and they were like, no. I said, okay, well, let me try another one. How about I pick three song titles, one from each band, and mix them together? So that's how we came up with Jeremy Wood, Let Me Drown.
Let Me Drown.
So each of the song titles comes from it that one of the three bands we're playing. So yeah, so Let Me Drown. Most people don't know Let Me Drown. Most people know Jeremy and Wood. And then I always have to say, okay, Let Me Drown. It's on Super Unknown. It's track one on Soundgarden Super Unknown. So then they're like, oh yeah. So yeah, so we try to incorporate the logos into into our logo. Some of like the stylings of the font and stuff, so the people can kind of figure it out. It's usually fun for them to figure it out.
Excellent, excellent. I'll admit I did a little research and yeah, I figured out that the titles and yeah, the Let Me Drown was the one I really had to do some research
Yeah.
too. So but I think it's a very good name and has good recognition that way and I think you really put some thought into it. So yeah, I think it's a good name for the
Well, thank
organization.
you. It's a lot of syllables, but other than that, it works well. So we abbreviate to Jeremy sometimes, but yeah.
We showed up
Almost.
and the guy we showed up at the club and at this one place last year and this guy said, "Who is Jeremy?" I was like, right as I was walking in, I was like, "Oh, well, that's like the part of our name."
Yeah.
He's like, "Well, what's his problem?" Like, well,
Why is he letting people drown all the
like
time?
I don't know, sir. I just work here.
I'm just a hired gun, sir. What do I know? Yeah. Yeah. We've had some weird alterations of our name too, like on a billboard one time. Not a road billboard, but like a little street sign, thing outside of a venue. And it was like Germany would let me do Germany or something like that.
Some people are
Yeah.
benevolent. They say Jeremy wouldn't let me drown.
Wouldn't he wouldn't. I'm like, no, he's an asshole. He would. He absolutely would. Yeah, so we have a lot of fun with the band name, talking to people about it and
Good
stuff. So
stuff.
yeah.
Cool, cool. Well, looking at your website, I see that you do a combo show that has music from all three. And then you also show that you can do individual shows of each three and then an unplugged show. So I'm going to just throw out, and this might put you a little bit on the spot, but what are some of your favorite songs to sing from your side up on stage? And then what do you think the crowd really likes the best? And sometimes that's the same and sometimes it's different. So I'll let you talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. Well, my favorite Pearl Jam song to play is Corduroy, just because it's my favorite Pearl Jam song in general. So, and that's one that probably doesn't get responded to as well in general by fans. I mean, I think for Pearl Jam, people really gravitate to 10, to the first album, 10, I
Mhm.
think Black goes over really, really well all the time. And Even Flow is another one that's like always hits hard with the crowds. Do you already want to add anything for Pearl Jam?
Yeah, is this the electric or the acoustic set? Which one are we thinking about? Are we thinking about the electric set? You brought them both up.
Let's start with the electric set since that's kind of the first one that you guys talk about on the website.
Yeah, the I me personally, I love when we do "Them Bones into Damn That River" from Alice in Chains. That's the
Mhm.
way it is on the record, and I absolutely love that combination. I think that the fans really love Even Flow. I think that the fans really they really love Rooster
Hmm.
from Alice in Chains,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
Man in the Box
yeah.
and
man.
Wood.
And we get sometimes we get in the mood to like play heavy and be heavy and of course I come from metal bands history anyways. Uh, but then I forget like when you play something like Better Man,
Hmm.
at the end of Better Man, it's like three major chords and it's
Yeah.
all happy, but like it's a really, kind of tough subject. But then like the entire crowd is like singing along and swaying, and like sometimes I forget that those are like the hits that are really going to get the crowd engaged. And so those are fun as well.
Yeah. For Soundgarden, for me, I would say Let Me Drown is really, really fun
Yeah.
to play. And Rusty Cage, I think we've talked about that before. That's another one of our favorites to play. On the acoustic side, I mean, Nutshell is like a classic Alice in Chains song that It's not like one of their better known songs, but from the acoustic unplugged standpoint and the crowd reaction
Yeah.
standpoint, it hits really, really well every time. Down in a Hole is another one that acoustically it just hits on a different level compared to electric, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Got Me Wrong is awesome from Alice in Chains. The interplay, the way that me and Jeff are doing the harmonized voices that Cantrell and Lane Staley would do on Got Me Wrong.
Mhm.
We're and that's I think that's fun both on electric and acoustic in
Yeah.
my opinion. So
Very
yeah,
cool. Very cool.
there's some stuff. Of course, Man in the Box that's always gets the big fanfare.
Mhm.
Yep. Yep. Yes.
Yeah.
So how would you describe the genre? Do you feel like all three bands fit into the same type of genre, or or do they stand out in certain areas as far as like maybe more grunge or more heavy metal? Just and you're experts on this. I'm a casual fan looking from the outside, but tell me what how that works.
Well, the in the interviews you watch from the very late 80s and early 90s, they typically don't really appreciate the term grunge. And I'm not saying this to you like don't use it. Obviously, we use it all the time because it's an easy moniker that collects everybody together. So they're kind of generally speaking opposed to the term grunge because it's supposed to be the antithesis of a movement, which is a movement in and of itself. That's the irony of it, right? Like that's what corduroy is about, or people speculate that's about like wearing corduroy, like following the rules, and you don't want to follow the rules, but in not following the rules, you're following a different set of rules, right? Same with
Right.
like transcendentalism, right? Like it's a principle of not having a set of principles, you know? So I don't know if that answers partly answers the question, but
No, no, absolutely. Absolutely.
Are you
So
saying so the genres of the bands he was sort of asking about like um it's like especially Alice in Chains sort of started in the very early years on the more sort of glam rock side,
mhm.
kind of like the old Pantera stuff, kind of that glam rock, and then they were slowly moving away from that. It's just that that's kind of the area that they started in, they were allowing themselves to get slower and to be more harmonized and to sort of let a song go in a certain direction. And so I think that they is just good rock music, but they were carving their own path, and it became this genre that we
Mhm.
think of as grunge or as alternative rock. And
mhm.
then that became popular. So at what point did you stop calling it alternative rock
Right,
anymore?
right. Yeah, and I think, like a lot of metal fans would be, would gravitate to Alice in Chains, and then Soundgarden also has a lot of metal riffs and also like with the time signature changes and the weird tuning, so they catch a lot and they'll catch a lot of those kind of, metalhead type guys. Chains always does because of those riffs. And then, Pearl Jam is a mix. I think with Pearl Jam you get more of like straight ahead rock fans. And then frankly, I think my experience, more women have gravitated to Pearl Jam, but I don't know if that's,
But then you have these like punk things that come out of the Pearl Jam
hmm
guys too. These songs that have
yeah,
very much punk
you got like
influence.
Spin the Black Circle and
Yeah. And
yeah,
so it's very hard to define.
yeah,
And that's why the show becomes so varied because we kind of start into a maybe we go down a road of this heavier metal sound and then all of a sudden we're playing
like Elderly Woman Behind the Counter in a Small
yeah,
Town or
which there's just acoustic chords,
yeah,
and so the show becomes varied because of this.
yeah.
Cool, cool. And I really appreciate that. Number one, I respect your knowledge and giving us some more deeper insights into that. So thank you very much.
No problem.
Feel
Um,
free to edit that down.
no, no, absolutely not. So fill me in. This is your opportunity to plug some upcoming shows. Where can my audience see you live in the area?
You got it. Oh, okay. So Friday. We are so Friday, in terms of this recording, that will be the 12th of September. We are going to be returning. It's our second performance up at the um, Barrel House Ballroom in Chattanooga, Tennessee. We were there in January and had a fantastic show. They asked us back, and we appreciate that. And so we had to work out a good time to come back. And so we're finally getting an opportunity to go back to Chattanooga. And we love the venue. They have uh, behind the band is a digital screen, so we're running visuals. They have great sound, and they have it's a nice big room, big stage. So we're really comfortable on that stage and really excited about getting back there. So that's the 12th of September, at the time of this recording, this Friday.
And then we've got Napoleon's in Decatur. That's the next local, Atlanta local one. That's on September 27th. So we're trying to get a lot of people out to that one because, there's a lot of people in the perimeter we want to hit that we don't typically play down there, except Smith's was another one we do sometimes. So trying to get some people out to Napoleon's September 27th.
Outstanding. That is probably going to fit the best into my schedule, trying to catch you there. So I will certainly come see you at some point, and barring craziness, that's the show that I will try to make. So
Appreciate it. Thank you.
absolutely. No, I'm excited to see the show, and I will shoot some video, and we'll put some little montage up for the audience. And no, very excited about that. So when I started the channel, everybody told me, when you do interviews, you have to ask one common question to all of your guests. And so I came up with a pretty simple one, and I'm going to throw it out to you guys. And I know you're pretty busy, so it might be tough, but do you attend tribute bands in your off time? And if so, what bands do you go see in the area?
I would have to say, I mean, I don't typically get out to many shows, to be honest. We're both in multiple projects, but the Frizzle Fries are a Primus tribute, and they tear it up, and I love it. And I mean, they're a tough band to pull off, and these guys do it so well. So I just want to give them a nod, and they're great people, obviously as well. But I love seeing them live.
Cool, cool.
Yeah, I'm gonna give a plug to Foozer. I absolutely love Foo Fighters and I love Weezer, and they do both, and they do it very well. And we just had an opportunity to play with Foozer a couple of weeks ago, and I had not seen them yet, and so getting to see that band do their thing was killer. So yeah, they're great.
Outstanding, outstanding. So down below in the comments, I will put a link to the website. So if you didn't catch those dates, and I know there's some coming up later in the year, they have a very good website. Easily, you can get through it very easy, and it's got all the dates. So I commend you for that. So my audience can check that out. And I just want to thank you again for taking time out. I know you guys are busy, and it means a lot to my channel. I appreciate the support. Means a lot to the audience, and I just love to see the music scene in and around Atlanta continue to grow. And I'm excited to come hear you play sometime. So thanks for being on.
Thank you very much for having us. We
Yeah, thanks
appreciate
for
it.
having us. Appreciate that.
All right, Tribute Band Central. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, and comment. If you have any questions for the band, for me, about Pearl Jam, Alice in Chains, Soundgarden, we'd love to talk in the comments. So be sure to do that. Take care, everybody. Have a great day.